Hi, today I'm going to show you how to submit a deemed rebate application online. But first I wanted to talk real briefly about professional gymnastics. Wow. I'm always impressed when I watch the Olympics. And the reason is, here we have teenagers who have been training since they were in diapers, all for this one moment on a world stage. And the ability to perform at such a high level under such intense pressure has always impressed me. Now, the reason I bring this up is because you too have also been on a journey. You've sold an energy efficiency project, you've probably watched a few videos online, you've talked to a few folks at account reps, you've got paperwork signed, and now you're ready for the dismount. And in submitting the application, similar to gymnastics, you've really got to nail the landing. Otherwise, it'll make everything that came before it seem like a waste. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to accurately submit the application through Energy Insight so you can stick the landing every time. Now, if you'd like to receive a copy of this slide deck so that you can follow along at your own pace when you submit your own application, we'd be happy to send it to you. Just send an email to tradeprohelp@pge.com, subject line, stick the landing. So let's jump in. To get started, navigate to pge.com/tradepro and then click on Sign In. You'll then put in your username and password. It's important to note that your username will have an appendage, and depending on when you signed in, it'll determine what that appendage is. I've listed them out here. If you forgot your password, you can also click on the Forgot Your Password link. If after resetting your password, if you still have trouble logging into Energy Insight, you can contact Energy Insight support directly, and here's their contact information. Once you're logged in, you'll click on the Projects tab. This will then bring up a list of all the projects that you've submitted through Energy Insight. What you're going to want to do is click on New Project, and then you'll fill out this form. You'll start by selecting Commercial, Industrial, Agricultural from the drop-down list. You'll put in the customer service ID. Then under the special project flag, in most cases you'll leave this blank. However, if it is a Prop 39 project or it's a deemed new construction, you'll make that selection here. Then you'll enter the installation date, customer's first name, last name, and then select the building type from this drop down here. You then have an additional drop down based on the building type, and then you'll put in the year the property was built. Now, we're not going to reject your application if you get this wrong. However, your selection here will then determine the amount of energy savings we're able to claim for your project as a program, so please be as accurate as you can. Customer contact information, email address, and then down below under payee information, you'll then indicate who is to receive the rebate check. And under payee recipient type, you have two options. The first is partner and the other is transaction. If you, the contractor, are receiving the rebate check, you'll select partner. The system will then bring in your information. If you select customer, you'll then put in their information. Just be sure to include their tax ID number and tax status. Then down below the payee information, we have a box for contractor information. Energy Insight, as you see it here, is used by a number of different programs at PG&E. If you, the contractor, are submitting the application on behalf of your customer, you can leave this blank. If, on the other hand, you're a distributor and there was an installation contractor involved, go ahead and put their information in here. Once done, click on Save and Create Project Measures. You'll then need to select the rebate measure. You'll do that by typing in the rebate code into the search box and then clicking on Select Measure. From here, the service ID and the measure code come in automatically. Then you'll need to put in the manufacturer and the model number. Next, we ask for the requested quantity of equipment. This simply is the number of items that were purchased. Under unit of measure, this indicates how the rebate is calculated. And then under requested quantity of UOM, UOM stands for unit of measure, going back to, again, how the rebate was calculated. For fixtures, you'll always leave it at 1. Then include the installation date. You'll then enter the material cost. You'll put in the total material cost for this measure. In this case, we had 10 fixtures, so this is the total cost. Then we want the labor cost, and then the invoice number and the retailer. In most cases, you'll put in the name of your distributor here, and then the invoice date. And then down below under measure comments, this is where you'll leave notes for the inspector. As of recording this video, the inspection team doesn't have access to Energy Insight. However, whatever you enter in on this screen here does then transfer to them. And I'll show you a couple other examples of what you might put in this field here. When you're done, click on Save. Then the measure will show up down below. If you have additional measures, you'll simply rinse and repeat, and we'll type in the measure code and then click on Select Measure. This is an example for an LED troffer. If you're entering in a troffer application, we'll want the number of fixtures under requested quantity of equipment. You'll notice here that the unit of measure is kilolumen, and under requested quantity of UOM, what we're looking for here is the total uncapped kilolumens for one fixture. Then under material cost, same as the previous example, total material cost for this entire measure, labor costs, and then the measure comments. If the installation you think might be a bit tricky to find all the fixtures, here's a good way to list that out so that we're providing good notes for the inspector. Another way to look at it, when you're entering in troffer measures, you'll put in the manufacturer, model number, the number of fixtures, and then up in the top right hand corner on the qualified products listing, you'll see the total uncapped kilolumens. And then of course don't forget your measure comments. Then for a VFD example, the unit of measure is rated horsepower, so you'll put in the motor horsepower for the measure that you are applying for. In this case, we're applying for one 200 horsepower VFD. If you had two 200 horsepower VFDs, you could put in under requested quantity of equipment, that would be 2. Requested quantity of UOM would be 400. That would be okay, but you can only combine VFD measures or really any energy efficient measure if the items themselves are identical twins. If, say for example, you had a 25 horsepower VFD and a 50 horsepower VFD, you couldn't put requested quantity of 2 and requested quantity of UOM 75. The reason being is because the model numbers are going to be different, and we'll need to indicate those separately. Also, it's not going to calculate out the rebate accurately. Then you'll fill out material cost, labor cost, as you've seen in previous examples, and then particularly on VFD installations, make sure you leave some notes for the inspector. We also require that a map is uploaded in the paperwork that shows the physical location of the pump, because as you pump guys know, sometimes those are hard to find. Then you click on Save. Once you've listed all your measures, they'll show up down below, and you'll click on Confirm Application, and then it brings you back to this summary screen here. Now what we need to do is to upload the attachments, and we'll do that by clicking on Add Attachment. Then what you'll do is click on Choose File and select the files from your computer. You'll hit the drop down to indicate what type of file it is, and then you'll click on Save. I want to pause here for a minute to just let you know that if you haven't watched the video on the deemed rebate paperwork requirements, it's really important you do that. Once you've uploaded all your attachments, they'll show up down here. Then you'll click on Submit. It then brings you back to this summary screen here. The last thing you need to do is confirm that this stage equals post-install review. If it doesn't, sometimes what we see is that although you've entered everything into the system and you upload the attachments, the stage still says new. If it still says new, you'll need to edit the application and put a check mark next to Data Entry Complete. The edit button's up at the top. Once you put a check mark, click on Save, and you'll see the status will change from new to post-install review. At that point, there's no further action needed on your part. As long as it says post-install review, you're good to go. Now, on this screen, one last thing is down at the bottom, there is a button that says Submit for Approval. That's actually for us internally. If you click on it, you'll get a permissions error. So you don't need to click on that. Again, if it says post-install review, you're good to go. So some common mistakes. One is the incorrect measure code was listed. 2, missing or incomplete paperwork. 3, the project does not meet the eligibility requirements spelled out in the DEEM catalog. And then finally, number 4, the application is submitted before the measures are installed. So after you've submitted your application, next step is application is reviewed. Then it's either approved, rejected, or sent back to you to make corrections or upload additional documentation. Then the project file is sent over to the inspection team. The inspection team is also known as CIP. After it gets back from inspection, it's either paid, partially paid, or rejected. If you want to track your projects, what you can do is come back into here onto the Projects tab, and you want to put a check mark next to the little green X. That will allow you to follow the project, so anytime there's a change, you'll be notified via email. Then over here under Stage, this will show you the status of the project. Again, if it says post-install review, that means it's sitting with the processors. There's nothing to worry about. If it says rejected or withdrawn, then that means there's a problem. You can then open up the project file by clicking on the name of the project, and then under the Notes and Attachments section of the project window, what you're looking for is a letter that was uploaded by the processor. Typically they'll title it as resubmit letter or denial letter. Once you open it up, it'll have more details as to what the issue is and how to fix it. As we wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about inspections. Pre-inspections are not conducted for deemed projects. Post-inspections are conducted at random unless the rebate is a high dollar amount or your company is on the mandatory inspection list. So just keep that in mind. Finally, just a quick word about the rebate check itself. When it comes in the mail, sometimes it's not always clear as to what project it was paid for. If you'd like to look it up, you can click on the Reports tab. You're looking for a report called Check Number Search. If you open that up, it'll help you decipher what project the check is for. And that's it. If you've gotten to this point and you've submitted your first application, we just want to say congratulations and thank you for a job well done. We hope this is about how you're feeling right now, because rebates aren't always easy, but we hope that these resources have helped. And on behalf of our entire team, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for continuing to invest in your education, and thank you for this opportunity to partner with you. To learn more about our program, please visit us online at pg.com/tradepro. Before you go, I just want to give a quick plug for our Pacific Energy Center. Now, if you've been there, you know that it's pretty amazing. We have two facilities. One is in San Francisco, the other is in Stockton. And the best way to describe it, it's kind of like Disneyland for energy geeks. They offer world-class trainings. They have this really amazing tool lending library. Check them out online at pg.com/PEC. Thanks.